Great stuff. Slicer, welcome back. And I heard, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there's a game giveaway going on.
Ooh, I think you heard right, Danny. We are giving away Medal of Honor, the newest
Ooh.
remake of the series.
Very, very good stuff. And what do I have to do if I want to win at Slicer?
If you want to be entered to win Medal of Honor, Danny, you can't win because you're part of Thunderdog. But for our viewers,
Oh.
make sure you follow us on Twitch. Make sure, type Thunderdog into the chat. It doesn't really matter, apparently, as I'm looking at the gift code and people are just like throwing up Thunderdoggy, and it works.
Alrighty. And meanwhile, we have another game for you guys, and it's already underway. Slicer, do you mind if we hop right into that?
Oh, let's just go right into that.
Thank goodness. And Slicer, do you want to go ahead, start with our Protoss, and I'll let you introduce the players this time.
Oh, I'm taking lead. All right. In the top left-hand part of Heavy Rain Ladder Edition, we have Overdose Gaming Amplify as the teal Protoss player. And in the bottom right-hand side, we have from Ignotiq Gaming, being a little chat box, our pink Terran player, FoxeR, who apparently tells us that Marine King had a baby, and that might be the best thing ever for the Starcraft 2 scene.
I think
ever.
that FoxeR is trying to claim that he, maybe she, I'm guessing he, I'm going to stick with that, is Marine King's baby? I believe that's what that was implying, and we'll have to see. I'm going to expect some fantastic play, but I also question the ages and how a baby can play StarCraft.
Oh, I see what you mean. I totally missed that little bit of a line, but apparently FoxeR is the devil child of Boxer, so we are going to see Raxes all over the place, or we're just going to see a Reaper opening.
You know what? I hope FoxeR just goes mech now. Just mind games, you know?
Oh no, you know what he's going to do? He's going to go full out goodie style, and we're going to have a 3-hour-long game.
Ooh.
Oh, Danny. But Amplify, showing a really normal build for Protoss, not really getting a fast expansion right off the bat, delaying his Cyber Core a little bit, but he does have the 2 gas with 2 workers in them each.
Oh, and a really fast reactor from FoxeR, adding that on right away before anything else, so we'll have to see what he wants to pump out of there.
Well, with the reactor on there and gas being done and not being mined out, we might see just a whole lot of Reapers coming in on.
That's what I would have to guess. That seems to be the only reasonable thing, adding on that expansion, so plenty of good stuff coming there, so maybe just a quick double Reaper, and yes, it will be.
We may see 4 Reapers come out of there, and ooh, Amplify lagging a little bit, but since we're in this pause, Amplify, we've known him for a while. I've known Amplify for a good amount of time. We used to scrim before he got really good and on a team, and as we saw in the preview, Masters.
Yes.
I think it's the same Amplify. It might be different. It's a popular name.
I think it's really funny that you just said we used to practice before, you know, he got good. That warmed my heart a little bit, because I completely identify. I have seen some of my friends on my friends list, you know, go from down when they were with me in, you know, Gold League and rise to even Masters level, and it makes me somewhat sad.
Oh, but we don't see 4 Reapers coming out. We just see 2 Marines coming out to back up any defense or shenanigans that Amplify might engage in. But these 2 Reapers, they're going to be a little bit of annoying with only a Mothership Core out.
Stalker did just pop, and that Mothership Core actually, now turning around. So this shouldn't be too big of a deal. We'll certainly get a little bit, maybe just 1 probe thus far. Gonna go around and pick off that other one unless it is microed. Oh, able to pick it off.
Ooh,
But
1 Reaper does go down.
not quite an effective trade for unless he really wanted to get that reactor anyway. Oh, and 1 more shot would have done it, but no such luck.
Oh, that was 2 probes for 1 Reaper. I'd take that trade any day of the week, and Amplify's just going straight to Stargate. He's not even messing around. Right to Stargate.
Oh, absolutely. And FoxeR adding on a good amount of Marines, as you might expect, utilizing that reactor very well. Now putting a tech lab on the other barracks, so you would definitely expect to see with the 3 racks here. I'm going to say bio play, and I'm pretty confident in that.
Well, we could see Bio play to a transition into mech. You never really know, but once Bio is started, they generally, or Terran players generally stick to it. But a really, really early turret up for FoxeR in the mineral line. He's scared of DTs. Or oracles.
Yeah, must have seen maybe something that tipped him off. I'm not quite sure. I don't believe he scouted the Stargate or anything.
He did not.
So we'll have to see.
FoxeR may be one of those players that just ends up against Protosses that just go DT all the time. Although oracles in PvT aren't exactly, you know, rare. They're fairly common every now and then. So FoxeR's just being a little preemptive, I want to say.
Yeah, and actually did not see that Stargate, so kind of got lucky here. A little bit of a blind counter. And if this Oracle doesn't use work, it could maybe help against these Marines that are marching across the map. Oracles, if they're not focused down, they do a lot of damage to Marines.
Oracles do two-shot Marines just as they two-shot SCVs, but there's a little bit of a spot that a few SCVs could get picked off of if Amplify uses this Oracle for that. He may just try and bring it back to stop these Marines from engaging.
Yeah, we'll have to see here, and does not pick this spot. Runs into the missile turret, but definitely holds there. And now these Marines are going to come in. What does Boxer have at home? Has enough for a mothership, or a Nexus cannon, and should utilize that very quickly. Oh, and the mothership, almost goes down.
Amplify just getting off that Nexus cannon to ward away this little engagement, but for how long and at what cost? That mothership core was just way too important. And FoxeR was actually doing a +1 timing, and concussive shells just finished. So, I mean, once this Nexus cannon goes away, Amplify's going to be in a little bit of trouble if he can't get any units out.
Yeah, he did go ahead and chrono boost out another mothership core. Very good play there to try to get another Nexus cannon up, but now Stim is going to be done ever so soon. We'll see it pop up here when it's got 15 seconds left on the right, about 20 seconds left right now. There it is, the countdown timer. Oh, and this could be devastating.
And there's still 35 seconds until the mothership core has enough energy for the Nexus cannon. FoxeR's in a really good spot. Amplify delayed his gateways for more tech. He got a robo out instead of more gateways, and it's hurting him right here now.
Yeah, and this is getting really bad, really out of control, very fast. FoxeR, some great moves here, definitely doing some critical damage as the army supply is now down to just 12, now up to 16, but even the Oracle is going to have to come in and try to clean some things up.
And I just want to say, as a Protoss player, this 8-9 minute push with +1 push from that FoxeR is doing, it just breaks my heart to lose to it every time.
And the keyword is there every time. I share your pain from that. Just every time it seems to pick it off. Luckily, he did not get this Nexus, so Amplify is not completely out. He is down by 6 workers, but now both army supplies are pretty even, and Amplify actually has a little bit more bank. A lot of gas, just didn't quite have the production up to deal with that. So we'll have to see. Now getting charged, and we'll see if maybe he can transition out into something a little bit more substantial. Is FoxeR now going to add on a third?
With that charge, it will pretty much make that Bio army really, really tough. It'll make that Bio army have a little bit tougher time to handle a Protoss gateway army. Charge lot Zealot, or charge lots with Archons, I found that unless the Terran goes straight for Ghost, they have a really hard time dealing with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's kind of one of those metagame things that you see again, because just Ghosts are typically not the first thing they go for. A lot of times the Viking transition's very easy because Vikings are readily available, and so you get those to deal with Colossi, but sometimes, you know, Twilight-based play is a little bit different.
Oh, FoxeR knows that there's an observer over his army, and he was just giving it a little dance because he just doesn't have the energy for the scans right now. He used them on mules, and you know what, Danny? I recognize what amplifying is started out here. This is something that Jim, a professional player from China, did. He always goes Stargate and Robo at the same time, and he'll throw down his Twilight Council after he gets a few more gateways. This is exactly the same thing I've seen.
That's good news. A little inside information there, Slicer. You devil, you devoting all your time to watching those games, making sure you know all the builds that are out. It looks like FoxeR wants to push out, but the army differential this time is nowhere near what it was last time, and we'll have to see if Amplify can deal with it.
FoxeR's actually getting +1 armor done as well, and +2 armor for Amplify is just about finished, but while charge is done, where is the Zealots?
Yeah, and now these Sadly,
But-
these High Templar will not have Storm, and this engagement's going to go on, and it looks like he's going to try to run him back, but this can be a little bit of a tough spot.
Oh, the Zealots are in the back and have to charge around the whole army. And with that, this is something FoxeR actually, FoxeR's doing right now. He's splitting his units, which he might think they're storms, but without any storms actually happening, he probably knows they're not. But with that split, it actually caused the Zealots to use their charge on the 2 units that were on the bottom. So the main army actually had a few more shots to get off before Amplify pulled back his forces.
Oh, and a nice little envision there, a nice maneuver to just make sure he knows right where that army is at. And he's going to push out here, maybe able to pick off just a little bit on the tail end of this. And actually, I thought he may have decided to, you know, potentially lift up into the main, but there was a High Templar just sitting there, just waiting, daring any medevacs to go up there, although they had already been feedbacked. But now, Amplify, for the first time, showing some good amount of aggression, getting over that halfway mark on the map.
The storm is done. These High Templar are going to be pretty deadly as long as they have the energy for it, and, well, there's at least 2 storms readily available to Amplify right now.
Yeah, and that fight quickly got out of control there a little bit for Amplify when FoxeR reinforced. That kind of tipped the scale a lot more in his favor, unless Amplify got off some great storms there. That would have been a little bit rough. But this is an interesting little path that Amplify has chosen to take. He got charged pretty early, got Storm, now getting Blink, so he's really kind of rounding out his kind of overall tech even before he got this very late third base up at 15 minutes.
Yes, the third base is extremely delayed. FoxeR has already had his third up and running for a good amount of time.
Oh, and there's a Doom drop on the right. Sorry to cut you off there, but there are 5 medevacs coming in. Oh, and this High Templar didn't quite see it, so it cannot catch up. Pretty good Storm goes down, though.
1 storm managing to kill 1 or 2 Marines, but that's a lot of forces. And ground weapons level 1 for Amplify just got denied, as you saw in the right-hand corner. This drop is doing terrible, terrible damage.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe can get a little bit more, but no such luck, and FoxeR gets out of there. A well-done drop, and now attacking the third, and he's going to get the third as well. Oh, maybe not.
All that +2 armor's holding up, but so much damage has been done to that Nexus. Just a little bit of kiting, and, well, that's all she wrote for that Nexus.
Yeah, so some nice little double-pronged maneuver here, and it looks like Amplify now down in workers, down in army supply, and he is down by 40 overall. Mobius Reactor now done, so Ghosts are going to be deadly to those Archons and High Templar. And again, FoxeR loading up, pushing the left side of the map, will be seen by 2 Zealots, however.
Oh, there's no Ghost out on the field for FoxeR. He did have 1 earlier, but it seems to have died. And without those Ghosts, those Archons are going to have a lot of shield, and those High Templars are just going to storm everything.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That drop is not coming in. I'm keeping an eye on the mini-map, has not gone in yet. Meanwhile, Amplify is trying to push through, doing a pretty good job there. A little bit of a miss with that time warp. Now the drop is going in on the backside of this. We'll flip over when that becomes apparent. Oh, and the High Templar are getting picked off. Oh, 3 full energy High Templar. He was dealing with this at home.
Oh, Amplify getting distracted by that drop just leads High Templar into a staple death, and now the army is just not enough to deal with the bio forces from FoxeR. Now, FoxeR did manage to escape with the force. Oh, a beautiful feedback, though.
Yeah, I'm glad I caught that right on there just in time. But he did do a really nice job cleaning up the drop at home. It really didn't do a whole lot of damage. He had a great storm on it. So he kind of only could pay attention to 1, and whether he picked the right one or not is anyone's guess. He did lose those High Templar down below, but was able to save off some major economic damage at home.
Oh, trust me, it was the right one he picked off. There were 3 Marauders in that medevac, and, well, now there's none.
Absolutely. So we'll have to see if he can come back. As the supplies raise up, the relative gap shrinks just a little bit. In the upgrade department, now Amplify adding on shields, great choice with having a lot of those Archons, especially if he wants to make them into a staple. Does not look to have any real interest in transitioning into Colossi.
Nope, there are only a few Ghosts out on the field. 4 are in production right now, 4 are out on the field, and Amplify sees them, and he knows that they're in a medevac right now.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if those are... Oh, I thought maybe they would just be for feedback, but no, that is a death drop. 2 High Templar are going over to try to pick these off. It looked like he sent 2 off on their own that were right in the path of those medevacs, and it looks like he is
Oh,
going up into the
man.
main. So now dropping down, and this is
Amplify.
devastating.
Whew. Amplify had a great read on that. He knew that those medevacs were going up that observer over FoxeR's army, showing him that. And, well, now there's just this huge army to the right of your base with a small army coming up from the bottom. And Amplify sees it with the probe.
And this is going to be really hard to deal with because what does he do? If he stays down, oh, these ghosts are coming out. Can he get some big-time EMPs off? We'll have to see EMP very feedback here. Maybe just going to EMP this whole army. Gets a couple of zealots there. Nice little land there.
Not too much damage done to the zealots. They do have one shield upgrade, so it did a little bit. I mean, without that shield, that little bit of buffer zone, zealots aren't just as tanky. That's a third of their health right there, but zealots have 4 armor right now, and that's pretty amazing.
2 more robo facilities coming down. I've seen, and a dark shrine. A little bit of an interesting move. I don't think I've ever seen adding on 2. Did he possibly forget that he had 1?
Well, the only reason you would add 2 on is one of 2 things. The Terran player's going mech, and you need a massive amount of mortals really, really quickly. Or he didn't realize, he forgot he had 1 already, threw 1 down, and is like, oh man, I need a robotics bay. And, well, tried to throw that down, but made a second robotics facility instead. But there is one other thing that something Amplify might do. He might just start building 3 Colossus at a time. You know, if he had the money.
Oh, yes, he can try. It did just get the 4th base up, and it looks like... Oh, can he pick... Oh, so close on the medevacs. So close. He's trying to get some stalkers to deal with it. They do have blink. They do have blink. Can he blink in and get them? Yes, he does. Oh,
2.
Great pickoff.
Everything's going to go down, and only 1 stalker dies for Amplify, but those High Templar did have to... it did have to turn into an Archon.
Yeah, so a nice little move there. Not too bad. We'll have to see what these players are going to do and how this kind of late game is going to shape out. Amplify has certainly closed that army gap and now has some good tech to back it up as well.
Well, you will have to remember, +3 weapons and +2 armor is done for FoxeR, so that bio army can tear through just about anything like it was just nothing but butter, and he's a hot knife.
Yes, we'll have to see. Both these players kind of sitting back, letting the other one do their thing. Oh, and you see something exciting. What do you got, Slicer?
I've got 2 Colossus in production, and surprisingly not a third one. Amplify must have really forgot that he had this robotics facility, might not have hotkeyed it, but Ghost Cloaking has just finished.
Yes, and that could be a problem if he doesn't have any observers out. They can be very, very annoying. Maybe scanning just for observers, but gets a good read on the entire army.
Oh, that was an army composition scan. He's looking for Colossus, and Danny, that Colossus didn't go into the scan.
If this comes as a surprise, that can really help. Now getting extended thermal lance as well. Those can really help. There is a ton of ghosts in here. 21 ghosts. And I think they all have full energy. So I'm wondering, could we see some fantastic feedbacks to deal with that? Or do you think the Colossi are just going to go to town?
Oh, I believe the Colossi are just going to go to town, and there's a little bit of a counterattack here from Amplify, taking out a few workers at the 4th with a DT and a Zealot. DT had about 8 kills as it died.
And he was exploiting that, it looks like, to try to set up a little bit more on the left side. These two posturing and positioning, very important right now. Little Zealot run by, but not a whole lot of damage going to be done there.
Oh, I have no idea what Amplify is doing with these Colossus, but his forces are split. Zealot's using charge on the buildings, not going to be able to use charge anywhere else. And Storm hitting the army. Oh, so beautiful.
And there's no detection here at all. These ghosts are being completely destroyed. They're actually blocking everything off and doing a ton of damage. A huge swing in favor of in terms of FoxeR. Ooh,
yes,
wow,
without those storms. Without those storms, man, it really couldn't do much. One good storm got all those forces down to the red as you see it. But the Colossus were kind of out of position. The Zealots used their charge on the building. Everything kind of went wrong for Amplify in that engagement.
Yeah, right now Amplify is down by just a little bit. Now 48 workers killed for a Protoss player. So he may have just a little bit, and you can see in the bottom right with the income, he does have a little bit of an economy lead, so he can make up some of the gap that he just gave away there. but he is certainly going to need some High Templar to deal with those ghosts. As so many EMPs could just murderize his entire army. The composition at that point almost won't matter with the amount of EMPs that he's going to have.
So I found out that's not the Amplify we know, so my bad on that. Just someone with the same name, a really good Protoss player with the same name at that. But another little bit of a run by a single Zealot and a Dark Templar trying to do some damage at the third. And, well, there's only one gas at the third now, and FoxeR hasn't replenished that yet, even though he's floating 2k gas.
Yes, and he does have a ton. This is almost exclusively a Marauder Ghost mix from what you typically see. There are 30 Marines, 24 Marauders, 18 Ghosts, and you typically don't see those numbers really, really close to each other. But given what he's up against, it seems like a pretty good play. Now Amplify going up to 331 upgrades. He's got a decent bank, so he can build what he needs. And this is kind of resetting, and this is turning into a pretty epic match between these two.
Yep, more counterattacks coming in from Amplify. And, well, Danny, before this engagement, don't forget, follow us on Twitch, type Thunderdog in the chat, be entered to win a free copy of Medal of Honor.
And I still have a question, Slicer. Where are the observers? He's got one on the map, and it is parked on the right side. And it is just not with his army. He needs that to deal with the ghosts, or they're just going to all cloak again, and he's going to get the best EMPs off possible.
Amplify might not have it hotkeyed. He might not realize it. He sees that there's proxy pylons out there as well, but the icons are different on the minimap. Maybe just a little bit of a lapse of judgment from Amplify, and those observers are going to be the key to finding these ghosts. And FoxeR's just having a little fun with his units right now.
Yeah, he's just playing around, dancing, having a grand old time. Not quite sure. Maybe just trying to, keep the APM up just a little bit. Both these players falling down just a little bit. Amplify actually hitting 0 there for just a second. But it's going to be interesting. I wonder what these players exactly have planned to go in and attack this other army, as now Amplify adding in a big-time base, but in a tough spot. Oh, and Amplify saw all of those ghosts moving out. That will help him know just where those are.
Oh, the observer did get sniped. Actually, no. Something got sniped. FoxeR didn't know that those ghosts were saw. The observer's still just sitting there, hanging out, observing. He's so astonished by the Thunderdog logo, he just can't move.
Yes, and now 6 Vikings at a time, Slicer, are being produced. He's quickly, in just 2 production cycles, now up to 12. So he's going to have plenty to deal with the Colossus. So this is kind of going back and forth, and do you think, whose army composition do you give the edge to right now?
Right now, I would give the honest edge to Amplify, only for the simple fact that there are just way too many ghosts. Like, you don't need that many ghosts. You need about half that. And the way Amplify's been controlling his High Templar, as we saw walking into the forces, there was a good EMP in one of the engagements.
Oh, and the observer, see, look at the size of this drop. Oh, he's going to go over the High Templar! Oh, does he get it? He needs to feedback everything. Oh, and he gets 3 full medevacs. Does he have Blink? Can he get any more out of this?
Blink is there, but the boost has just been hit, and that main base is in trouble.
Yes, absolutely. He's got such a long way to go around. Oh, and he recalls in. A nice move to save it, and all of these medevacs are just kind of sitting up here. If he can warp in some High Templar, he might be able to get... Oh, 2 go down to the bottom. Oh, can he get out?
While all of this has been happening, Amplify had this, this pesky little High Templar actually managed to storm and kill a couple of workers at the natural third.
That is, of course, a great thing, as he has all those ghosts there, but he picked off a substantial amount of the army. Luckily, FoxeR able to replenish right away, but look at the bank for Amplify.
Amplify's got a few Archons stuck in his main base there, having to kill his own buildings, depowering a gateway. Never good to depower your own gateway.
Yeah, hopefully he gets that back up and running.
Oh, these Archons are so derpy, they can't get past the cannon. The Sim City is just not that amazing for Amplify. There's a lot of holes, a lot of choke points, and there's nukes on the way for FoxeR.
Oh, those could be good. Oh, these Archons are completely stuck. He really does need these to fight, though. He definitely needs to realize that they are stuck up there, but he doesn't. And he's going to run into a ton of Vikings. This is going to be terrible for those... Oh, and we both held our breath.
Oh man, those Colossus were just on the brink of
Oh
destruction
no!
there.
And
Oh,
now
well.
they're gonna go down, and there's nothing really to deal with them. Storms
Oh,
are
there's
going
the
down,
storm.
doing some good damage, but
Ooh. I don't know why those ghosts were walking through the storms, but they felt like they needed to walk through the storms. But, Danny, there's a little bit of a transition here from Amplify, but he's not really using it. He threw down 3 more Stargates
oh yeah,
and a fleet beacon.
Oh, he needs he needs some sort of observer, or these ghosts are just going to murder everything. He has nothing to. Can he see the ghosts? Looks like he got a shot off on him, but I'm not sure. And now a nuke coming down. Could this placement be good? Does Amplify see it? Does his horse pull into it? He needs to pull back just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little curious. I think
Oh
one of the
no!
ghosts was
Oh,
he moved forward.
Moved
Oh, why
right
would he
into
do
it.
that?
So many probes got lost there.
Oh, and the Vikings are just going to be like, I'm going to shoot at your
And the
Colossus or
Archons are
something.
still stuck in the back. The Archons still now finally getting through. Can he deal with this? An observer is being on the way.
That was smart by Amplify to hold off the engagement as long as
Oh,
possible.
the
but-
Archons obliterate
Oh.
the Vikings. And now does he have an observer? Oh, he does. He can see all of them. The ghost going down oh so quickly. He's trying to pick all of them up. Amplify might be doing a death push to try to win here. He's got nothing
No.
for the ghosts currently. Now finally able to see them.
Danny, some of those ghosts were out of energy and it let the Colossus be able to hit them all, but with those Archons in the mix and those charge lots coming in, DT's shredding at Marauders in the back, Amplify's completely obliterated the army. And, well, looks like,
Amplify, a
Double the-
little BM there, I think. Toss good ratio, telling him how bad he just beat his army. And he's going to push in. The Colossus kind of separated here.
Amplify doubling the army supply of FoxeR, and, well, they're actually both on a similar worker count right now because they sacrificed a few just to increase their army. And I want to see 4 carriers at a time, Danny, and it's just not happening, and it's making me sad.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like the Protoss player's not building anything, and he's only at 150 supply. I've been watching the production tab, and he's simply not building a whole lot. Now trying to build up more probes. Looks like he's got 5 of them built up, but no army replenishment, and I'm a little bit perplexed.
At this point of the game, when you have that kind of bank, you really should be building more things. Like with that gas, why not summon 10, 15 Templar?
Yeah.
Throw a few more Archons, why not?
Absolutely. Maybe he thinks he doesn't need him. That could be a little bit of a mistake there. A little bit of the BM. I wonder if he's a little just overconfident. Oh, but great storms going down there. Now EMPs all over everything. Snipes going down as well. Colossi stuck in the back attacking barracks. All of these units in the front are naked. Everything's attacking a barracks.
Ooh. Only a couple EMPs going off on a single Archon, not necessarily getting another Archon. Ghost did get gimped with a couple patches ago. Their EMP radius did shrink, and the projectile takes a little bit longer to get to where it's needed, but it looks like Amplify is just going to steamroll and win.
Yep, it looks like now FoxeR down to just 10 supply, unfortunately, and everything will be immediately obliterated there, but that game could have been easily winnable by either player. FoxeR GG and taps out. Wow.
Oh,
what
FoxeR
a game.
FoxeR not able to get that second win for Ignotiq Gaming, but hey, we had some good games tonight, Danny, especially that last one. Amplify showing his prowess, and FoxeR, well, he showed how many ghosts he could make.
Yes, I thought actually FoxeR might have it there for a little bit before the Colossi transition, and then he kind of appropriately responded, but unfortunately 6-3-3-2 Archons, I believe they were at that point, against some Vikings, and you're going to see some melted Vikings all over the ground.
Oh, yeah. With that splash damage and those units stacking, it's almost as beautiful as watching a Mutaclump just disintegrate.
Yeah, it was very good, and I'm really happy the last game of the night turned out to be an epic one. It had pretty much everything you want out of a PvZ, plenty of ghosts, plenty of Colossi, well, more than enough ghosts, as you mentioned, and it looks like it just didn't quite pan out for FoxeR Amplify able to take it, but those two, I think, would make very, very good practice partners for each other.
Oh, yes, they will. And, well, Danny, since we are done with our games,